Hi there, welcome to another live wine tasting. Hope everyone is at home, safe and doing well through the lockdown. Tonight's tasting going to look at Pinot Noir. Now, those of you who come and join us at Glengarry regularly will know that I run a monthly Pinot Noir club at Victoria Park and love talking about Pinot Noir. So this could go on all night, but I've been told I can't go on all night. It has to be nice and succinct. So we're going to try and do that, and to help, just chosen 3 wines to look at tonight. So the 3 wines that we've got are all from Central Otago, and I was fortunate enough to be down in Central Otago end of January, and it seems like an absolute lifetime away now, but it was a fantastic experience. Went down there for the Pinot Noir celebration. Great to get down there, see everyone and taste the wines of the region. It's a celebration that has been going on for quite a few years now, and I'm very fortunate to have been to the majority of them. And each year through that you get to taste about sort of 40 or so wines from the current vintage, and it's a really good way to benchmark where the region's at. And I'd have to say, this latest trip down there in January, I think overall the quality from Central Otago, we've never seen the heights that we're seeing right now. And included in that would be the first wine that we're going to look at tonight, which of course is Rockburn. So Rockburn's a fantastic winery. It's actually, incidentally, it's our feature winery in our April wine letter. So despite everything else going on in the world, we have produced a wine letter at Glengarry this month. We have produced it digitally, so you won't find a hard copy arriving in letterboxes, but you will find it up there on our website. So Rockburn is featured there as the feature winery. So Rockburn was actually established in 1991, and it was actually at that stage, it was just a 3-hectare sort of hobby block, and it was Richard Brunton that had that. He then went on from there to develop the winery and expand it, and was joined by a couple of very good friends at that stage, and they in 2002, I think it was, changed the name to Rockburn. So before that you could see the wines under Hayes Lake, or Lake Hayes Lake. So that was in 2002, and then what happened in 2005, and I think that's where, for me, the sort of real story of Rockburn starts. Malcolm joined Rockburn, and Malcolm joined as the winemaker. Before that, Malcolm had been at Felton Road as the assistant winemaker there. Felton Road does very much seem to be a breeding ground for some of the best winemakers from Central Otago. So Malcolm came from there and moved to Rockburn. And Malcolm's style of wine, I think there's a couple of things that I really like with it, and we're going to see that in the one that we're looking at tonight, is I always find with the Rockburn Pinot Noir, and obviously with Malcolm's wines, that you really can see the vintage variation. And that may seem a funny thing to say, but you know, Rockburn, more so than a number of other wines I can think of, each year there's such diversity in the style and characteristic, and that's a good thing, because each year the weather conditions are different, and Malcolm has the confidence to let that shine through in the bottle. The other thing that I think you get with Rockburn is you get consistency and reliability, and I think, you know, in today's market, having a wine that you can go to year in and year out and know that the style might be a little bit different because that's what the weather conditions gave, but the quality is going to be there year in and year out, stands for something. So those are the 2 things I really like about Rockburn. So Rockburn, let's just have a look at it. So this is the 2018 that I've got tonight. So I've actually already poured that one into my glass. Couldn't wait, I'm afraid. So I've got that here. So it's actually a blend of fruit from Parkburn, 88% from Parkburn. So Parkburn is actually in the Lowburn sub-region, and it's got 12% from Gibston. And Gibston's actually a sub-region in Central Otago that I really like. It's got lovely bright acidity, but it's a sub-region that doesn't necessarily ripen well every year. So it's a bit of a challenging sub-region, but when it's in the blend, I think it really does add something. So Rockburn is a blend of two different sub-regions, and we're about to talk about Akarua, where we'll talk a lot more about sub-regionality, but Rockburn is a blend in this year of the two. There's a little bit of whole bunch in it, 10 months in French oak, 33% of that was new, and 33% of that was 1 year old, the balance a little bit older. So if we have a little look at it, you know, the first thing that I think jumps out of the glass is it's got a really, really charming nose. You know, lots of those sort of dark red cherries that you get from Central Otago. On the palate, it's got wonderful sweet red fruit, and then this lovely sort of burst of acidity, and then layers of silky tannins that sort of deceive you to think this is quite subtle and quite delicate, and then there's this power and structure to it. And I guess that's one of the characteristics that does give the Rockburn wines the ability to age. And you know, it is a wine that can age, but equally it's a wine that I know we'll be enjoying later tonight. So that's from the 2018 vintage, and the next wine that we're going to look at is also from 2018. So what was it like as a vintage? Well, it was a vintage that was very, very warm, had a dry spring and a very, very early summer season. Then a little bit later in the summer, it actually rained and became quite cool. So it was, I guess, a vintage of two halves, if you like to put it. So moving on to our next winery that we're going to look at, we're going to look at Akarua. And from Akarua, we actually have two wines to look at. We'll look at, first of all, the Akarua 2018. So Akarua was started about 5 years after Rockburn, so started in 1996, and it was established in the Bannockburn sub-region and established by Cyclific Skeggs there. And for many years, the story for Akarua was very much about one estate within Bannockburn, but recently they have established, or expanded past Bannockburn and now into Felton Road and Lowburn as well. Now, if you can hear a little bit of noise in the background right now, that's my little Burmese cat who's decided to come and join us. Hopefully she just stays down there in front of the fire, otherwise we'll have her tasting Pinot Noir in a minute as well. Back to Akarua. So originally Bannockburn, now have vineyards in Felton Road, Lowburn as well, but their main cuvee, which is the first one we're going to look at, is 100% from Bannockburn. So this one, I'll just give this a pour. Right, so 100% Bannockburn. This one has 11% whole bunch in it. I should have said there was also some whole bunch in the Rockburn as well. 11 months in oak, 29% of that was new French oak. Now, the winemaker here is Andrew, and Andrew was there for about 7 years as the assistant winemaker and took over as head winemaker in 2015. And Andrew, I think, for me, I'd describe him as being a very intuitive winemaker. I do love the style of the wines he makes, and, you know, typically Bannockburn, you see quite a bit of sort of dark red fruits to it, but you can get this wonderful sort of herbal thyme character as well. Add to that his winemaking and you get this lovely silky finesse to them. So let's have a little look at this wine. It's interesting. Aromatically, that's actually jumping out of the glass for me more than the Rockburn did tonight. I think the Rockburn is a little bit more brooding and a little bit shyer tonight, but this is very much jumping out of the glass and showing all that sort of gorgeous abundance of fruit right up front. And it's a combination of sort of some bright red fruits together with some dark fruit there. So that's the Akarua 2018. Sticking with Akarua, and I've got another wine by them and wanted just to, if I can, let's just see if we can get this up here to show you on the iPad here. I'll just see if I can flick this round and hopefully can show you that there. So this is the 25 Steps vineyard. So this is a really striking vineyard in Central Otago, and this is one of the vineyards that Akarua has sort of semi-recently purchased. And from it they've made this wine, which is a beautiful label to it, but it's called 25 Steps, and you've got this wonderful sort of Alice in Wonderland label on the front of it. And this is made from fruit off that vineyard. It is in the Pisa sub-region, so Lobo and Pisa, Cromwell, all sort of in that same geographical area and around the Cromwell township there. So the name, and as you could see from the picture, comes from the 25 steps in the vineyard. And when you look at this wine, I think need to think about them picking the grapes and what came in and what will have gone into this glass of wine. Because a vineyard that has 25 steps and is wrapped around a hill like that is going to have lots and lots of diversity in the way that those grapes or the conditions under which they're grown, because it's facing just so many different sort of aspects and areas. So the viticulturalists here, when they look at this vineyard, just think that one of the characters that sort of jumps out is the diversity in the fruit when it comes in. So very, very different in style to the Akarua. So this has spent 10 months in seasoned oak barrels. So I'll just give this one a bit of a taste. It's really interesting. You've got to buy both of them and try them side by side because they're just so different. This one has a little bit more of an ethereal nature to it, and the acidity is quite tight on it, and it gives it a more sort of savoury aspect to it, not quite the sort of upfront red fruit that we saw in the Akarua there. So all three of the wines tonight, neatly enough, all $36.99, makes it nice and easy. We have put together a mixed case online so that you can purchase all three of them. Otherwise, you can also jump online and purchase them individually. So hopefully you've enjoyed that look at those three wines tonight. We are doing live tastings online at 6 p.m. every night through this week, next, and then we'll see what the future holds from there. Next Monday, I'll be back. I'll be tasting some of the wines from Montredon. We've actually got some really exciting new wines coming in from Montredon, and a very big change for our top-selling Côte de Provence. So won't spoil that. We'll talk about that next week. But I hope you've enjoyed the tasting tonight, and thanks for joining me.